If you didn't watch the ending to the late Monday night game last night, yeah, there was a fumble in the fourth quarter that the Raiders picked up and didn't do jack shit with, and they credited the fumble to Herbert instead of Hampton. Want to know why I'm a little pissed off about it? Because that ball last came from Hampton's hands, and they credited Justin Herbert with that fumble. That literally cost me a fantasy football game because of it. It was only like a 1 point difference. Like, it was a 1 point swing. Like, if that fumble went to Hampton, I would have won. If it didn't, my opponent won. And yes, my opponent did win. I don't want to go too deep onto it because I'm just still so furious with that ruling. And yeah, that's just the short 30 seconds of how the NFL completely screwed me in a fantasy football game. Let's lighten the mood up a bit. Let's get to the video for today. Welcome back to Grizzly Talks Football. I'm the Grizz, and ladies and gentlemen, we have got ourselves Week 2 NFL reactions. Also, make sure you check the link in the description with the entire playlist for Season 2 so you can figure out every single episode, you can watch it, so you're all caught up and you're also happy for future episodes. Do not forget to hit the red subscribe button down there and then the notification bell so you don't miss a single one of my videos. And it helps the channel a lot. Without further delay, let's react to the Week 2 NFL games. So the first game we got is the Thursday nighter between the Commanders and Packers, with the Green Bay Packers winning. 27-18 was the final, and I gotta say, both offenses, aside from Washington's run game, actually looked pretty solid. I mean, Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt, oh wait, that's right, he's Bill. He actually was pretty productive in this game. But Jalen Daniels, 24-42, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. Actually didn't help that Austin Eckler tore his Achilles and is out for the year. Zach Ertz and Deebo Samuel had touchdowns, and Terry McLaurin had a much better stat line, but not exactly what you'd expect from a wide receiver 1. Not going to really talk about defense because they couldn't really stop Green Bay's offense, and Matt Gay missed 2 field goals. Oof. Wasn't going to win them the game regardless, but still very brutal. For Green Bay, Jordan Love, another solid game, 300 yards, 19-31, 2 touchdowns. Jacobs had a rushing touchdown and 84 yards. He wasn't terrible. I say this before, Tucker Kraft is a freaking beast. He had a little George Kittle kind of game, I heard from Wise World, of course. So this catches 120 yards and a score. Romeo Doubs had a touchdown. Unfortunately for the Packers, Jaden Reed went down with a collarbone injury. That's going to take a couple months to heal. A couple of stars on the defense as well. Devontae Wyatt had a sack, Sean Gary had a sack, Andrew Cooper 7 tackles, and 5 passes defense for Keyshawn Nixon. Also, McManus was 2 of 3 on field goals, even with a 56-yarder. Before the Parsons trade, I didn't think the Packers were exactly going to make too much noise, but now that they got him, they could seriously be contenders in that NFC. They're like probably the second best team in that conference. Maybe the best. I don't know. Now for the Sunday afternoon games, we had an absolute barn burner of a shootout. Giants barely losing to the Cowboys 40-37 in overtime. Both offenses were unbelievable, but it was more about the defenses sucking ass. Russell Wilson had a much better game up until the interception, 30-41, 450 yards, 3 touchdowns, and of course that overtime interception he threw. My man Cam Scatterboo from Arizona State got a rushing touchdown. He had a pretty solid game. Hopefully he becomes RB2 for the Giants. The guy actually had like 60 total yards. Leighton Neighbors, 9 catches, 167 for 2 touchdowns. Wan'Dale Robinson, 8 catches, 142 and a touch. I mean, the Giants defense wasn't as bad as people thought they were. I mean, they got 3 sacks from Garcia, Burns, and Thibodeau. There was also an interception by Andrew Phillips. And Paulson Adebo, 11 tackles. Damn. As for Dallas, Dak, 361 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception, of course. 2 rushing touchdowns, one by Javonte Williams and the other by Miles Sanders. And Javonte Williams was very productive in this game. CD had another very impressive game with 9 catches, 100 yards, but the 2 touchdowns went to George Pickens and Cavante Turpin. Jay Ferguson also had 9 catches for 78 yards. Donaldson Smith had the only interception of the game for Dallas, and that ended up helping them get the win because Brandon Aubrey was just automatic. 4 field goals, including the 64-yarder to send the game to overtime in the first place, and also the 46-yarder to win the game. Dallas may have won this game, but they now realize their defense is complete dog shit. Speaking of terrible defensive performance, what the fuck happened to the Steelers defense against Seattle, with the Seahawks winning 31-17? I'll be honest, I did not see the Steelers defense allowing 400 yards on my bingo card. Sam Darnold had an impressive game besides the 2 interceptions, 2 touchdown passes, 300 yards with 22 of 33. Kenneth Walker was just balling out, 100 yards and touchdown, 8 yards a carry is just nuts. Charbonnet just kept getting stuffed every play. At least it opened up for KW3 to be able to go to work. JSN 100 yards on 8 catches. Cooper Kupp 7 catches for 90 yards, and the only touchdowns went to Torrey Holton for Colorado State and A.J. Barner. 3 sacks in this game. Byron Murphy 1.5 sacks and 2 interceptions by Kobe Bryant and Darian Kendrick. As for the Steelers' offense, the defense has been getting stopped so much that the offense is really too fatigued to really figure anything out. Rodgers 200 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks. Rushing game was just completely stuffed. In fact, Jalen Warren had 130 total yards, including 86 receiving yards, and the touchdown with the DK Metcalf, but I heard he had a lot of drops. Besides the 2 interceptions by Herbig and Ramsey, Jack Sawyer even got a sack, but what in the world happened to this defense? They were just getting torched. I hope this isn't a bad omen for what's to come for Pittsburgh football. Mike Tomlin might be on his way out after the end of the season. Up next, we got the Rams beating the Titans 33-19. Don't let the final score fool you. The Titans gave the Rams a run for their money up until the second half. Stafford still slinging the rock, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. 300 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick, 23 of 33. Pretty good stuff. Puka Nakua's touchdown on the round was a very long one. Broke a tackle and just went off to the races. And Blake Corum even scored a touchdown. He was really productive. 2 touchdowns with Davis Allen and Devontae Adams. He actually did well for me in fantasy. 6 catches, 100 yards and score. Puka Nacua, 8 catches for 91 yards. Still doing Puka things. 5 sacks total for this defense, and nice game from Byron Young with 2 sacks. As for the Titans, Cam Ward threw his first NFL touchdown with 175 yards. It was a really nice throw. Rolled to the right, threw it across, and found Ayamana for the end zone. Tony Pollard and Shamir Dyke didn't have really bad run games, but at the end of the day, this whole team is pretty much ass at best around Cam Ward. Really bad situation for the rookie. Defense got cooked, but at least Joey Sly was putting up points with 4 field goals. If these 2 performances are what the Titans are going to do, maybe they're not as bad as people think they are. Up next, we got the Bills beating the Jets 30-10. It was just in firm control of the Bills the entire time. To be quite honest here, Josh Allen didn't have his best game because he really didn't need to do much. That was because he had a guy by the name of James Cook who, funny enough, I'm facing him next week in fantasy. Yeah, wish me luck. In this game, he had 130 yards, 6 yards a carry, and 2 touchdowns in this game. The other touchdown went to Elijah Moore. Only thing I'll mention with the receiving game is that Dalton Kincaid had the most catches with 4. So Kincaid is back. On paper, the Bills had 4 sacks. Stats don't look too appealing, but they were getting stop after stop on the Jets that really helped them defensively. As for the Jets, Justin Fields went down with an injury, but he had probably his worst game in his entire career passing the ball. Breece Hall back to his 2024 form, at least momentarily. Tyrod Taylor threw an only touchdown. Garrett Wilson led receiving 4 catches for 50 yards, but ultimately the touchdown was to Jeremy Ruckert. Yeah, when you're the Jets, you really can't stop the Bills that often, and by that often, I mean not at all. And now the Bills are 2-0. Next up, we have the Patriots closely beating the Dolphins 33-27. Not gonna lie, this was a little surprising. Dolphins definitely were fighting back, but unfortunately, they just could not come back from that. For Drake May, he was a very accurate quarterback in this game. 19-23, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he even ran for a touchdown. Stevenson had 140 all-purpose yards with 88 receiving yards leading the team. Touchdowns went to Kayshon Boutte and Matt Collins. 5 sacks for the defense, including 2 from Milton Williams, another new signing. First it was Harold Landry that had a good game, and now it's Milton Williams. Those additions are definitely working out for them right now. Oh, hey Spillane, I didn't even see you there. Nice of you to get a sack as well. As for Tua, he had a much better game. 26-32, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Oh, I forgot to see who the interception was for the Patriots. Hold on. Well, what do you know? That was Marte Mapu, and we actually had a couple of kick returns for touchdowns from what I've seen. There's Antonio Gibson with 1. We'll get to the other kick return touchdown later, but the rushing game was abysmal. Oh yeah, and by the way, Malik Washington was the one that scored it. As for offense, receiving-wise, Devon Achane and Jalen Waddle had touchdowns. Tyreek Hill had 100 yards receiving. Devon Achane also had 8 catches for 92. But yeah, defense got torched all game. At least they had back-to-back touchdowns. I mean, Malik Washington on the punt return and Antonio Gibson on the kick return always seems nice. After hearing that interview from Mike McDaniel, oh my gosh, that guy needs to be sent right back to the IT department. Or go back to being a GameStop manager, because my gosh, this guy is too much of an analytics guy to be a head coach. Up next, we had a crazy game in the afternoon with the Jags losing to the Bengals 31-27. Also, what the fuck happened to Zach Taylor and his bad starts? Is that not a thing anymore? Trevor Lawrence played okay, 24-42, 270 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Etienne had another pretty productive game. Bayshore Tootin actually had a touchdown in this game. I mean, run game wasn't complete awful. I mean, the touchdowns went to, of course, Travis Etienne and Bayshore Tootin out of the backfield. And he also threw one to De'Ami Brown. I'm not going to lose hope in Brian Thomas just yet. And I heard Travis Hunter's been getting more defensive snaps now. And for the Jags defense, 3 sacks and 3 interceptions. My goodness, they were actually cooking pretty nicely. Just a shame that the Bengals were just the better team in that situation. For the Bengals, Joe Burrow went down with a turf toe injury, and he's going to get surgery, which is going to keep him out for at least 3 months. His stats in that short time was 7-13 for 76 yards and a score, and Jay Browning came in and he played okay. Like, he had 3 interceptions, yes, but he had 240 yards and 2 touchdowns. 2 touches through the air, and he even ran a sneak for a touchdown as well. That was actually the one that won the game. Jamar Chase is still here, hogging targets, 14 catches, 160 yards, and a touchdown. Other touchdowns went to T. Higgins and Mitchell Tinsley. Not much to really show for on defense except Daxton Hill and Jordan Battle getting interceptions. I know the Bengals defense can force turnovers, but can they really stop an offense? I don't know, man. This Bengals team seems weird to me. Coming up next, we have the 49ers barely beating the Saints 26-21. They really just could not finish off the game until late. Like, the Saints were just like cockroaches the entire game. They just wouldn't go away. If I was a Saints fan, I'd be worried about your defense because you made Matt Jones look like Joe Montana out there on Sunday. 26-39, 280 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like, 49ers lost to quite a bit of their starters, and you still lost to them. I mean, running game, like, for the Saints defense perspective, it's not terrible. I mean, McCaffrey was pretty decent. Just a shame you allowed McCaffrey to get 100 total yards and even receive a touchdown. Alongside Lou Farrell and a return of Jawan Jennings. 3 sacks by the Niners defense. Fred Warner was super disruptive as well. They just couldn't stop Spencer Rattler for some reason. Because this guy, Spencer Rattler, threw 3 touchdowns, 200 yards, and 25 of 34 passing. Alvin Kamara's back to his prime with 100 yards rushing. And the touchdowns went to Devon Vele, who the Broncos traded to the Saints just this preseason, and along with Jerron Johnson and Rashid Shaheed. Welcome back to the touchdown column, Rashid. And of all people on the defense, Carl Granderson actually looked very solid. Demario Davis also was him still. How come New Orleans is keeping these games close, these first 2 games against the NFC West opponents? Is the NFC West fraudulent, aside for the Rams and Seahawks? Up next, we got the Browns getting smacked by the Ravens 41-17. This was a game we most definitely expected. Again, Joe Flacco didn't really have the best game, 25-45, 200 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Dylan Gabriel actually threw a touchdown pass in this game as well. Quinshon Judkins led rushing. He was pretty solid, 6 yards to carry. It's so alarming that they made Joe Flacco throw 45 times. What is that? Harold Fenton and Jerome Ford led the team with targets with 5 or catches with 5 and touchdowns with Cedric Tillman and Dylan Sampson. Fun fact, I actually just picked up Dylan Sampson in waivers just on Wednesday. So, yeah, he got a touchdown, but he's on my bench because I had a couple of other talented players above him. Myles Garrett still being so destructive as he's always been. It's just a shame that the offense can't do jack shit. Rushing game was completely abysmal. Browns did a good job shutting that down, but the passing game, not so much. 19-29 for 225 yards and 4 touchdowns for Lamar. Zay Flowers once again led receiving, this time with 7 catches, 75 yards, and touchdowns went to DeAndre Hopkins, who had an insane catch, Tyler Wallace for a touchdown, and Devontae Walker had 2 touchdowns. That's interesting. And once again, the tight ends are just so quiet. Mark Andrews, 1 catch, 2 yards. Roquan Smith still a beast. Malachi Starks playing well. 2 sacks for the defense and also an interception by Nate Wiggins. I didn't exactly watch the game that much, but Ravens were definitely stopping the Browns pretty much on almost every drive. Up until they started to, play their backups and Browns finally started to score. Pretty good game, Baltimore. And the final game of the 1 o'clock slate on Sunday, we had the Lions absolutely dismantle Ben Johnson and the Bears. Damn. 52-21? Okay, so I think I may have been over my head about the Ben Johnson situation. I mean, don't get me wrong. The offense looks very much improved. I mean, 200 yards for Caleb Williams, 10-30, 2 touchdowns and an interception is pretty nice. Rushing game being led by DeAndre Swift, who had a touchdown and 5 yards to carry, along with Caleb Williams. Like, the run game wasn't bad. The offense wasn't terrible. Guy who I should have started in fantasy, Roma Odunze absolutely torched the Lions defense. 7 catches, 128 yards, and 2 touchdowns in this game. I've said this a lot of times, but the offense wasn't the problem. It was the damn defense. They couldn't get to Goff a single time. Like, they just couldn't do anything. I mean, Jared Goff is back to, his kind of MVP caliber form with 330 yards, 23 of 28 for 5 touchdowns. Mir Gibbs and David Montgomery, Sonic and Knuckles both having touchdowns. And on the receiving end, Morton St. Brown had an absolute monster game. 9 catches, 115 and 3 touchdowns. Jameson Williams, 2 catches, 108 and a touchdown. Brock Wright had a touchdown. And Isaac Tesla had an amazing one-handed catch again. 2nd week in a row, the Tesla has made a ridiculous catch. And even Caleb Williams got sacked 4 times, and then he got picked off once by Kirby Joseph. Yeah, Kirby Joseph's still the beast. But yeah, the story in this game was that Chicago couldn't stop a fly if their lives depended on it. They made J.J. McCarthy look good. My God, that aged well. Wait till that Sunday night game cops up. Now, this was a game nobody was expecting. But somehow, someway, in Indy, the Colts beat the Broncos 29-28 on a game winner from Spencer Schrader. I actually predicted the Colts to win this one, and somehow I got it right. I mean, look, Bo Nix didn't play terribly. 22 of 30, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. J.K. Dobbins makes the Broncos offense have a run game again. I mean, R.J. Harvey's carries were just non-existent. Troy Franklin led receiving with 8 catches, 89 yards, and a touchdown, and other touchdowns with Marvin Mims and Adam Troutman. And for some reason, Cortland Sutton only had 1 catch for 6 yards. But the big story, besides Surtain and Hufanga having some good games, is that the defense got torched by Daniel Jones. Well, Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor. Listen, man, Daniel Jones is good again. I tried to tell you. 23 of 34, 300 yards, 2 total touchdowns. No surprise, Jonathan Taylor's a beast on the run game. 165 yards, 6 yards a carry. That guy was balling. And ladies and gentlemen, I officially believe that the Colts have found their tight end 1 in Tyler Warren with 79 receiving yards on 4 catches. Taylor actually had a touchdown pass as well. Colts defense didn't really do anything either except an interception by Cam Bynum. But my God, Colts fans, you better be lucky. You better be lucky, I tell you, that you have Spencer Schrader on your team with 5 of 5 field goals, including the game winner for 45. You might want to thank the refs as well, because what the fuck is leverage? What is leverage? Clasping on the center's cheeks or something? Okay, that was terrible. Hey, pause. Moving on to the 4 o'clock games, we have Carolina losing to Arizona by 5, 27-22, but Arizona was in control the entire game. Carolina was playing catch up the entire time. Rushing game was abysmal. Bryce Young finally started throwing the ball. They made him throw 55 times? Dick Canales, what are you doing? 35 of 55, 328 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Ted McMillan had a pretty nice game with 100 yards receiving on 6 catches, and the 3 touchdowns went to Chuba Hubbard out of the backfield, and also 2 touchdowns for Renfro. Damn! Welcome back to the NFL, Hunter. Trevor Moore got a big game, but the only real highlights in this one was DJ Wonnum interception and a sack by Princely Umamilan, the rookie. I'm not sure what's going on with Arizona. Like, they didn't do that great either. 17-25, 220 yards, a touchdown and a pick for Kyler Murray. James Conner, like a touchdown run for sure, but not exactly the most productive runner. Trey McBride's back, 6 catches, 78 yards, and the only touchdown went to Michael Wilson in the back of the end zone. And yeah, the main reason why Arizona got onto that 27-3 lead was really because of their defense. 2 sacks for Calais Campbell in his return to Arizona. Then also Baron Browning got an interception. Oh, you know something? They hit the quarterback 10 times. That's the crazy part. Josh Sweat even had a sack and forced a fumble that was recovered by Zaven Collins. That is now the 2nd straight ugly win against the NFC South opponent for the Arizona Cardinals. Yikes. Definitely want to get that checked. And our final 4 o'clock game on Sunday was the America's Game of the Week between the Eagles and the Chiefs, with Philadelphia coming out with a 20-17 win. Jalen Hurts didn't really have to do much of anything through the air because the run game pretty much took care of its business. Jalen Hurts had a rushing touchdown along with Saquon. And actually, A.J. Dillon on his 3 carries actually was pretty productive. Only mention of the receiving game was that A.J. Brown finally is getting going with 5 catches, and Devontae Smith 53 yards on 4 catches. Jahan Campbell, he was solid, so was Cooper DeJean. Andrew Mukuba had an impressive game. An interception, he was just making plays all over the field. As for Kansas City, another ugly passing game, like 16-29 from Mahomes, 187 yards, a touchdown and a pick. At least he got a rushing touchdown. He had 250 total yards and 2 total touchdowns. Other than Mahomes, the run game was just non-existent for the most part. Kelsey led receiving 4 catches for 61 yards, but he did drop a key touchdown that would have definitely changed the game. And also Tyquan Thornton got the only touchdown. On an absolute beautiful dime from Mahomes to Tyquan Thornton. That could have changed the game. And yeah, the defense could do anything to stop Philly, but they just could not. And for the first time in the Mahomes era, the Kansas City Chiefs are starting 0-2. I'm not giving up on them just yet, but it's definitely looking bleak right now. Up next is a Sunday Night Football matchup when the Falcons take out the Vikings 22-6. Oh sure, I'm gonna get comments saying, "Oh, it's just the Vikings. Don't get so worked up. It's just the Minnesota Vikings. They are ass." I don't care. A win's a win. Just like for you, Arizona. I will say passing game was underwhelming. 13-21, 135 yards, no touchdowns or picks. He did make some good throws though. Rushing game was so much better in this game. Algier scored the only touchdown. Bijan was just absolutely beasting on this entire Viking defense. Drake London led receiving, but he also fumbled a reception. And also Kyle Pitts had the most catches of any player on this team. Is he really the truth now? But this was the big story in this game. Falcons had 6 sacks. Zach Harrison, Brandon Dorrance had green games. Bowman and Watts had interceptions. Man, we were just giving J.J. McCarthy the business. Zach Harrison also forced a fumble, which was recovered by Divine Diablo. It was a really good defensive game, and it makes me feel good about a defense. Finally, after so many years. Also, John Parker Romo is now our kicker. 5 of 5, 54-yarder at one point for 16 points. As for the Vikings, they were just dead in the water. Like, JJ struggled, 2 interceptions, 150 yards, 11 of 21. Rushing game wasn't that great. Only good thing to come out of the offense was Justin Jefferson with 81 yards and 3 catches, including a deep reception that set up a field goal to go to the half. Defense definitely got some stops. Eric Wilson punched out the football from Drake London. 3 sacks total for the defense, but at the same time, their offense couldn't do jack shit. Definitely will have to work on some stuff, for our next game that's just going to be at Carolina. They're always a sneaky team to play against, but I heard that they're missing 2 of their interior offensive linemen, so it definitely got better for us. We'll see you next week, Carolina. And now we're on to the Monday Nighters. First up, Buccaneers survived the Texans 20-19. I gotta be honest, this was just a very surprising game. I did not think that the Texans were gonna hang with the Bucs, but man, did they prove me wrong. Baker was an absolute monster. He had some great runs, some good throws, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns on the day. Rashad White had the only touchdown. The run game was solid as well. Mike Evans and Bucky Irvin led receiving with 50-plus yards each. We also had touchdowns from Amika Buka's 3rd touchdown in 2 weeks, and of course Ryan Miller as well. Not much to speak about for the defense, but they did get a couple stops. They got 3 sacks. I mean, they played well enough to get the win. As for the Texans, I mean, they were hanging in there. You know, C.J. Stroud, 207 yards, a touchdown, 13-24. Chubb got his first touchdown as a Texan. The only passing touchdown in the game was a beautifully thrown ball by Stroud going to Nico Collins. And also, by the way, Woody Marks is absolutely balling out right now. It was a pretty good game for the Houston defense as well. You know, 2 sacks from Neil Hunter, 4 sacks total. They were giving Tampa Bay some trouble up until the end. Henry 2-0 was absolutely disruptive as well. Just came up short, Houston. At least we know you can hang with the big boys. And the final game of week 2 was the game between the Chargers and the Raiders, with the Chargers winning 20-9. I gotta be honest, this game was just dominated by the Chargers. You know, Justin Herbert, 240 yards, 2 touchdowns. Run game wasn't that great, but it did do enough to secure the dub. I keep telling y'all this, but Quentin Johnston's a beast. 3 catches, 71 yards, a touchdown. Keenan Allen also had a touchdown. And boy, was this a dominant game indeed, because 2 sacks for the Chargers and 3 interceptions by Dante Jackson, Tony Jefferson, and Diane Henley. Henley was a beast. Same with Tarheeb Still. I can't believe he's still around. Needed to go mention Dicker to kicker real quick. 2 field goals and I think 2 extra points as well. Rough game for the Raiders. I mean, a rough game. 3 interceptions for Gino, 100 yards, no offensive touchdowns whatsoever. Ashidenti was pretty okay. Had some good runs, but also had some blunders, like, you know, going the wrong way on a handoff, so Geno Smith had to carry it for a loss. Also, you know, tripping on Michael Mayer's foot. Rob Bowers get more catches with 5, and also Jacoby Myers 6 catches for 68 yards. I mean, defense didn't do completely awful. I mean, 2 sacks for Jonah Lawless was nice. Max Crosby was very disruptive. Devin White and Jeremy Chin and Jermaine Pratt had some solid games. Polo Mao was not terrible either. Oh yeah, and Adam Butler recovered a fumble from should have been Amarian Hampton. Ladies, you better thank Daniel Carson for having to live, because he got you the only points you got. I think it's a little too early to pull the trigger on the fact that the Chargers could actually win the AFC West. And that's going to do it for the Week 2 NFL reactions. And that'll also do it for this episode of Grizzly Talks Football. You enjoy, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up, hit the red subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single one of my videos. This is the Green signing off for now, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace, love, keep the Grizzly vibes with you at all times. Take care.